This is Meltdown Live, presented by MyBookie.ag. Use code NEXTROUND at MyBookie.ag for double your initial deposit. You sign on to make a deposit, they double it with code NEXTROUND at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag.
You're broadcasting live from the Culver studio. I am Tim Melton. So happy you're here with us on this fun Friday edition of The Meltdown. We're with you live daily, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern, right here on the channel. Make sure you are subscribed so you never miss when we go live. Plenty of coverage today surrounding the latest big Hollywood release. This one is Wolfman. We're going to get into those thoughts shortly with the one, the only Tyler Lionel Johns. Tyler, how you doing on this Friday, my friend?
I'm doing well. Got to see Wolfman last night.
We're going to get into it.
A lot of movies to see this weekend.
Yeah. You are
Be
a
busy week.
busy man at the theater, making sure that you don't waste your time and money because Tyler's wasting his. I'm kidding. Here, he's sacrificing for all of us. EG got the joke. EG, how are you on this Friday?
Yeah, going.
There's
cruising.
a vibe going on here.
Yeah.
There's an aura.
Yeah. I just took the worst photo of my life with our thumbnail, but for the greater good, it's okay. I am the wolf.
Yeah. As we pull back the curtain, a little bit of dramatic acting. You have been a puckerfish in the past, right? Puckerfish? Blowfish?
Pufferfish.
Pufferfish.
Puffer. Yeah.
Why did I say puckerfish?
I don't know. I don't know if those exist.
Is there such thing as a puckerfish?
Maybe.
I don't think so.
I don't think there is either. A pufferfish, you've been a tree.
Yeah,
you've
coconut
been-
tree.
What else theatrically in your life?
I have been an ancestor in Mulan. I
Okay.
have been the little princess
Perfect casting.
in The Little Princess. That is good casting.
And now you have.
I was talking about the ancestor in
I
Mulan.
know. I also was a mime.
And now you are Wolf Lady on our thumbnail.
Yeah. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
We are so happy to have you here.
Yeah.
This is the most strung out I've seen you creatively, based on the fact that, once again, you didn't know you were going to be a wolf lady today, and here we are. You don't like scary things, you don't like horror things, but you're a good sport, and we appreciate that.
Yes, I am. And I often look around and wonder, what would I do without the meltdown? I don't know.
Exactly. You would be free of the chains that bind you here. We have been working on a little project behind the scenes.
Are we going to show it?
We're not,
No.
but what soon?
Yes.
But we worked diligently on this yesterday.
Uh-huh.
And so it got so much into the witching hour that even Tyler was like, "All right, guys, I got to get out of here. I got
Yeah.
things to do, people to see, places to go."
I got work to get done, movies to see.
Duh.
I'm a busy guy.
Exactly.
Obviously.
So we'll unveil that probably next week.
Oh, good. Okay.
But we do a segment here on the Meltdown where we unbox a mystery box full of DVDs and Blu-rays. And I have not really hit a bunch of things that I've wanted. My favorite part of my haul so far has been a Blu-ray edition of Monsters University.
Which is funny considering how many movies we've gone through, and that is the high ticket winner.
We've gone through probably 150 movies, roughly, maybe 160.
Yeah, they definitely packed down that last box. And we knew because of the weight of it that it was going to be a little tighter packed. And I'm not kidding, there was 100 movies in there.
Oh yeah, easily. But it was also not 100 movies. It was some instructional DVDs.
Yeah,
There
it was
was
just
some
100 discs.
100 discs. You
Better
don't
way
know
to say it.
what you're going to get. First one, we got a PS4 game, which is the best kind of like, oh, surprise disc. This past one, we got some real garbage. So
Yeah.
anyway, if you want to check out that video, you can, but we will have future unboxings here on the channel. We've made a list of sort of a wish list. I'm trying to put it, I don't know if you're the type EG that when you write something down, it feels like it puts it into existence more. If
Yeah.
you like actually jot it down. And that's what we've done here with a big list we will unveil next week and let you know whether or not we hit in future boxes. All right, I want to get to some blazing hot headlines here today on this Friday. A lot to catch up on after the week that was, including our top story of the day. Universal and Blumhouse's Wolfman reboot has made $1.4 million in Thursday previews so far. I don't know what the studio estimates are with haul for this movie over the course of the weekend, but I would say that if this movie can somehow generate, $15 to $20 million, that they're going to consider it a pretty big success in weekend number one. So we'll see what it's got. I don't know what the estimates are. I know that Blumhouse's model is we spend a little, hoping to make a lot, and they are deciding to take a Wolfman movie that seems to be on a lower scale and put it out to audiences. Tyler has already seen it. I'm going to see it tomorrow. However, my expectations have been lowered quite a bit. If you had asked me a year ago to tell you the 2024 movies I was most excited about, Wolfman would have made the list. But then it went through production hell. Ryan Gosling was taken out of the project. It got pushed to 2025, and I started to worry about it a little bit. So my expectations were already lower to a point, but the Wolfman is my favorite Universal monster. So, Tyler, you've seen the movie,
I have.
and I've seen your out of the theater reaction, and you didn't seem to be too wowed by this one. You're not howling its praises.
No, I still think An American Werewolf in London is still the best werewolf movie. Excuse me. Ah,
Are you turning into the Wolfman right now?
yeah, I think I've been afflicted. Uh, 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 this movie has some awful dialogue, and it made me sad because it's got some solid practical effects and a good emotional core, a good emotional hook to the story, and they just kind of abandon it halfway through, don't develop any of the characters. And then on top of that, the Wolfman design is awful. You mentioned the Universal Parks design. I looked it up. Um,
Is it pretty similar?
let me look at it again.
Yeah. And once again, we're not going to show you any Wolfman designs, so don't worry about that if you're watching and you're like, oh, I want to save it for the theater. But is it equally as bad? No?
Oh no, this one looks better.
Oh, gosh. That
Oh.
hurts.
This one, I would have been thrilled if this was the Wolfman we got.
Oh dear.
Well, I have a feeling that will be a huge part of our spoiler review discussion that we'll have early next week. But you do love some of the casting here in this movie and then despise
Yeah.
other parts of the casting.
Love Julia Garner. She's great in the Waco miniseries as well as Ozark, and looking forward to seeing her as the Silver Surfer. But they just didn't give her anything to work with. She tries her hardest to save this movie, but it's just beyond redemption. I don't know the name of the male lead. I think it's Christopher Abbott. Uh, don't like him in this role. I don't know if that's a Christopher Abbott problem or a writing problem, but I'm willing to bet it's also a writing problem. I
Okay. So let me ask this. You and I, we do a thing where when we see a movie before the other, we try to tell you whether or not, this is going to be good for you or you're not going to like it or whatever. Will I like The Wolfman in your opinion? Will it be a movie where I'm coming out higher on it than you are, or will it be a movie where you think we're going to be in sync?
Mm, you
Based
might like this more than me, but I don't think you'll like that Wolfman design. I think it makes for a better body horror movie than a monster movie.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Wolfman, a movie that EG will not be seeing in the theater for sure.
No.
Do you think this would scare EG? Is this light on scares? Is it pretty tense or
It's suspenseful at points, but then I'd say unnecessarily. No, not unnecessarily. It's somewhat graphic at some points,
okay?
but yeah, it's just this was a dud.
I can tell you're not really high on it. And I know when you've seen a horror movie that you are really wanting to champion. This doesn't seem like one of those. So, January's always a scary time to be excited about a movie because they typically bury things in the month of January.
And that was one of the top reviews I saw on Letterbox for Wolfman was this reeks of a January release.
Okay,
Oh.
I didn't see that. I don't know how well it's doing on Letterboxd right now, but
About a 2.8 last I
oh,
saw.
Yikes.
not good, not good. All right. Well, it's already made about $1.5 million there in Thursday previews. Tyler was a part of that lot. Do you plan on seeing Wolfman this weekend? Maybe you've already seen it. Let us know what your thoughts are on the film. We would love to hear that. But I'm going to go see it tomorrow. I'm going on a double date to go see this movie. And there's going to be some excitement in our theater. We're seeing, this at one of the big locations. And I'm hoping it delivers some sort of chills and thrills, but we shall see. Okay, I'm going to move on to this. It's a pretty big one for especially 80s movies fans. The confirmation of a long awaited horror sequel was tucked away in a recent Deadline report about Warner Brothers' upcoming films. It's quote, franchise hopes abound down the road in Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum, Practical Magic, DC's Clayface, and Supergirl, which is about to start filming, by the way. Drew Goddard's incoming script for a new Matrix movie, and a new Gremlins from Christopher Columbus, and a Goonies treatment. The next Gremlins will be a sequel rather than a reboot, continuing the story set up in the 1984 original and its 1990 sequel, Gremlins 2, The New Batch. Tyler, do you love the Gremlins series? Do you love Gremlins as a maybe guilty pleasure holiday movie too? Because Gremlins is very much set at Christmas time.
Not even a guilty pleasure. I have said publicly I think it's one of the best Christmas movies you can watch. I think it's just a fun time.
I don't know if we ever have the Furby craze without having Gizmo first
I
and
agree.
Gremlins. I mean, there's very much a crossover there.
Bright light, bright light.
Do we remember the rules of how not to mess up a Gizmo and turn it into a gremlin? I mean,
Mogwai.
a Mogwai, yeah. You
Yeah,
don't
you don't get it wet. You don't feed him after midnight.
after midnight, which I've always wondered what time does that end?
I've always wondered if time zones play a factor in this.
Yeah,
Like, what happens if I don't know. We're going over to Atlanta for the weekend, and I
with
need to,
EG.
yeah, with
Duh.
EG, and we want to feed him, and it's 11 o'clock Central, but oh, it's past midnight over in Atlanta.
It's a great problem to
I've
have.
always wondered.
Hey, maybe they'll work that in as a storyline of people traveling across state lines going, no, we're good. We play by the rules. In terms of the Goonie treatment, it's not clear at this point whether it's a reboot or a sequel. It's not completely clear. It's been 40 years since director Richard Donner's 1985 classic caper, which sees a group of kids set out on a quest to find a long lost pirate captain's treasure. Would you root more, Tyler, as a massive Goonies fan? If it has to exist, you can't play the game of, oh, well, they should just scrap it, okay? Because I know that's how you're going to play it.
Yeah, I mean they
That's
should scrap it.
but
Boo.
if you have to cast a vote, do you want a reboot or a sequel?
Dang, that's tough. Because if you go for a sequel, everybody's gonna say this is a cash grab sequel. Hollywood's run out of ideas, yada yada yada. And if you go for a reboot, then they're gonna say all of those things. Plus, it's trying to copy Stranger Things. So
What do you want personally out of those two options?
I mean, I guess a reboot. I think you can at least get the opportunity to explore some of the ideas that were left on the cutting room floor, like the gorillas that escaped from the zoo, um, the extra meetings with Troy and the older brother, and then what was there's some other weird plot points that got cut out. Giant octopus in the one-eyed Willie's cave.
I would love to see Josh Brolin return to this property,
I would too. Yeah.
and for that, I feel like it needs to be a sequel instead of a reboot. However, uh, this is a movie in the Goonies that works better with a kid cast, a kid sort of
It will be
atmosphere.
so sad seeing current Sean Astin, current Josh Brolin,
Yeah.
just sort of ribbing each other like they're still young brothers, just trying to find some treasure. No, this is no, no.
But maybe their thought process is we can play this like an It Chapter 2, where all these kids have grown up, they all have adult lives, they get back together for one more adventure,
I like that.
and it could play that way and, try to target the older adult fans that love it. I just feel like your body language is telling the entire world right now, it's a very tough thing to try to get right making a Goonies sequel because the first one is such a classic.
Yeah, and for years they said they weren't even gonna even think about doing a sequel or a reboot or remake, whatever. So it just hurts. Uh yeah, not looking forward to this one. As much as I like the idea of watching Love Hurts with Ki Kwan. Uh seeing him reunite with Sean Astin on screen will be nice. I do not want the whole gang back together in current day.
We'll see what happens there. Tickets went on sale today for Captain America Brave New World. Is anybody in this room excited for this film?
No, I didn't even know it was a thing.
Okay, there's one vote.
There's a popcorn bucket for this one,
Huh.
and I have no interest in picking it up.
Is it a Red Hulk?
No, it's just it's Falcon, or excuse me, the new Captain America's helmet, and it opens up at the top.
That's it?
That's it.
Red, white, and blue?
Yeah, it's it's red, white, and blue. Little silver on the mouth part.
I'm going to try to come up with a list, a Meltdown countdown at some point, of the 5 movies that never need to have popcorn buckets.
Pretty much
Ooh.
any Marvel movie, unless you're going the Deadpool and Wolverine route, which
Right.
is we're going to make a ridiculous one just for the joke.
Like a Magic Mike popcorn bucket,
No.
right?
See, that's one I would actually root for a popcorn bucket for because that's so wacky.
Right.
I don't like the plain just sort of Spider-Man's head, Captain America's head,
Right.
all of those. Those are boring.
Right.
Huh.
Because the one for Brave New World looks pretty much identical to the last Ant-Man one they
Gotcha.
dropped.
You want all of your popcorn buckets to be
Well, I mean, look around the room. Look at the ones we've bought.
right.
Behind EG, we've got the Warhammer, arguably the worst thing you could ever eat popcorn out of.
Oh
Oops,
gosh,
Nice,
EG.
EG.
Sorry.
And then we've also got the sarcophagus, which is just another wacky one. We got the Dune bucket because that's a classic, and then we got the Deadpool and Wolverine one because it was a play on the Deadpool one. And then we got the handbook for the recently deceased.
Oh yeah, it was a play on the Dune one. The Deadpool and Wolverine one. This is getting out of control. The popcorn buckets are slightly getting out of control, but unless they have some sort of virality to them, they typically do come across as pretty boring. And the problem with Brave New World, Captain America Brave New World, is it's coming across as just very
I
milk
have no
toast.
interest.
Coming across very
Bland.
milk toast. Bland, yeah. All right, let's move on to this. You want to get into something that's a little heated? Here we go.
Let's
Here we
do
go.
it.
Justin Baldoni has sued Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, alleging that the Hollywood power couple hijacked his film, It Ends With Us, and sought to destroy him with false allegations of sexual harassment. Baldoni and his publicists accused Lively and Reynolds of civil extortion, defamation, and invasion of privacy, the suit seeking at least $400 million in damages. The new lawsuit by Baldoni, including text messages in which Lively allegedly compared herself to Khaleesi and seemingly alludes to Taylor Swift as one of her dragons, has made this an even more riveting case. You have the lawyers coming out saying the message could not have been clearer. Baldoni was not just dealing with Lively, he was also facing Lively's dragons, 2 of the most influential and wealthy celebrities in the world, who were not afraid to make things very difficult for him. You've been studying this case,
Yeah.
and it's messy. E.g., what's your latest feel on this? Because we've all been wondering, Team Blake or Team Baldoni?
Well, what I was impressed with was the level of proof that Baldoni has unearthed via text messages, emails, texts between production members, staff members that weren't necessarily including him, but proving his point, which also tells me if other people are willing to come forward with their messaging about this situation and their messaging about Blake, that there was an issue on set in a more than one way. But what I'm confused about is where are they getting that Taylor Swift was one of the dragons? Did Baldoni say that? That's who he thought it was?
I think they said that Blake said that in a text message.
The text was, "If you ever get around to watching Game of Thrones, you'll find that I am Khaleesi, and like Khaleesi, I have my own dragons." But she never said who they were. They just said that her dragons are beautiful monsters that protect the people that she fights for.
Which,
This person is insane. I have just sat here pretty much not caring about this story every time we've talked about it. But because it just seemed like just pointless petty bickering between stars, and now I see Blake Lively is actually insane. What possesses you to text that to someone or see the world in that way?
Well, this is every week we get another chapter of this saga between these two parties that can't stand each other. And we were talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. There's the whole debate about whether or not Justin Baldoni was actually the nice pool character that Ryan Reynolds and the Marvel team constructed to put in this movie, which, if you've seen Deadpool and Wolverine, you know that this person is mocked for their blunt niceness and been ridiculously murdered on screen. So,
Mhm. They identify as a male feminist as well. Nice Pool does. So that's also another reason why people
and
see it as a Baldoni stand-in.
Baldoni and his legal team has said, Disney, you better protect every bit of information surrounding the development of this character because we want to see exactly what was said about creating this character. But a lot of people are like, look, this clearly is just a riff on Canadians and Canadian culture. It's not a riff on
That's what
Baldonia.
I thought it was at first, but I
I
don't
don't think
know.
anybody,
I don't know.
I
I'm
don't think a lot of people,
starting to be swayed.
not a lot of people would have made the assumption that that was Baldoni if not for Baldoni himself bringing it to the table.
So here's the exact text. If you ever get around to watching Game of Thrones, you'll appreciate that I'm Khaleesi, and like her, I happen to have a few dragons. For better or for worse, but usually better, because my dragons also protect those I fight for. So really we all benefit from those gorgeous monsters of mine. You will too, I can promise you. The dragons were seemingly a reference to Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift.
Well, there you go.
Interesting.
We shall keep not only Tyler, but you up to date as well with the latest surrounding this legal drama. Will it be settled? Will it end up in court? Who knows? But it is messy to say the least. Let's move on to this. A Different Man is now streaming on Max. The film won Best Feature at the Gotham Awards, and Sebastian Stan took home the Silver Bear at the Berlin Film Festival and a Golden Globe for his lead performance in this movie. Tyler, this is one of the 2024 titles that has escaped us because it
Yep.
didn't get a proper release around these parts. However, it's available now on Max. Will you be checking out A Different Man?
Possibly. It's it's a lot easier for me to just walk into a movie I have no knowledge about at the theater than it is for me to just start watching stuff at home. I don't know what it is.
That's interesting.
I'm way more likely to watch something if you put it in a theater versus streaming.
But you would plead guilty to, in 2024, having seen more movies that are brand new than any other year in your lifetime. Would you agree to that?
Yeah.
This would add another one to your total retroactively because it is a movie that has a lot of awards consideration. Will it land Sebastian Stan a Best Acting nomination? Very much. Potentially, he's going to be right there in the mix of being in that conversation. Um, I
I,
don't know when I'll get around to this one. I'm definitely going to watch it at some point. I don't know when, but this and The Apprentice are two movies that have gotten a lot of buzz, but that not a lot of people have actually seen.
The Apprentice was pretty good. Um there's some choices they made I disagree with, but Sebastian Stan gives a pretty solid performance. I prefer was it Jeremy Strong that
Mhm.
played Roy Cohn?
That is correct.
Much better performance from him in my opinion.
And Sebastian Stan had a breakout 2024 year, especially coming off of Marvel, where a lot of those actors aren't able to really be successful in anything else. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. was able to break through eventually with Oppenheimer, and he had a good run here recently on a TV series that I can't remember the name of. But like Doolittle was out of his Iron
That
Man
was
run
panned.
that
Oh my
didn't
gosh.
quite work out. Chris Hemsworth has always struggled to sort of find his footing. Chris
Mhm.
Evans has struggled to find his footing. There's been a lot of actors and actresses that just really haven't been able to break through. And Sebastian Stan had a heck of a 2024 taking low budget, high risk projects on. And this is one of those that's now featured on Max. Move on to this. We talked about this a lot earlier in the week, but now it's becoming more and more real, and that is TikTok potentially fading away here in the US in a matter of days after the Supreme Court rejected its appeal to halt a new law that will ban the popular video app as of January 19th, which is coming up on Sunday, unless Chinese parent ByteDance sells its stake. they're playing all of their chips on one game right now, EG, and that is that President Trump is going to come in and save TikTok.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I was on TikTok scrolling through last night, and the messaging now is, well, Trump, can you come save us? Can we get this fixed? And so now the consensus is, well, I'm going to stay on it. Like, it's actually not going to go away. You also have the people that are trying to promote this Red Note app that is literally like, it's all the terms and agreements are in Chinese. How is that a good idea?
Well, that's not. A lot of people think they're getting away with it. Like, we don't
Yeah,
need TikTok. We've got Red Note. And they don't realize that'll be the next thing taken down.
right,
This is the
right.
same philosophy. I do wonder where Elon Musk stands on this.
I do too, because now when it comes to the social media discussion in this country, he's not a bystander anymore. Like
Mm-mm.
will be fully in the mix with his ownership of X.
Yeah,
Um, is there any movement on Mr. Beast's offer to buy it all?
don't think so. No,
Interesting.
there's no movement on any American buyer right now with this.
I wonder what the list is of people that have attempted to buy it or wanting to buy it. I'd like to know that.
I feel like there's been several high profile celebrities that have wanted to come out that actually have the net worth to potentially buy it.
I mean, Elon flirted around with buying it,
I didn't
but
know that.
ByteDance doesn't want to sell it, so
Yeah.
can't buy anything
It's
somebody doesn't want to sell.
so shady to me that they don't want to sell it, but I feel like it's very telling.
Yeah.
And what's also interesting is on TikTok, these videos are going viral of people explaining the situation. And the majority of the comments are either A, completely okay with China having all the information, B, they don't care and they just are like, well, the US government already has my information, so it doesn't matter if the Chinese have it. And then there's a third group that is just really angry all around. Angry at China, angry at the US, angry that's being taken away. And you have a fourth category, which is so weird. And Tyler, we talk about these parasocial relationships a lot of comments like, as this journey comes to a close, TikTok, and as we have scrolled, I just hope everyone has a good life, and you guys made my days brighter. What? It's so weird.
Who is Patrick Mahomes' brother?
Oh,
You
a
remember his name?
TikTok influencer, I can't remember his name, though.
I
Right.
remember annoying
Brandon?
kid.
Is No, I don't think it's
Uh,
Brandon Mahomes. Anyway, he's not very well liked.
No.
No,
I can't remember his name.
What?
Somebody in the chat will have it. But he went back on TikTok
To say goodbye.
to say goodbye, and now there's like this movement of, oh, okay,
Jackson Mahomes.
Jackson.
that sounds exactly right. And
It
Jackson,
is.
Is it
I looked
spelled
it
with
up.
an
yeah,
X?
No,
no, it's not that
that
far.
would be even worse.
I thought it was.
That would make it worse.
Jackson
Jackson
Dark.
Mahomes came back on to say goodbye, and now everybody's like, yeah, it's okay if this thing goes away.
Yeah.
'Cause-
He has caused the poor Mahomes family a lot.
yeah,
A lot of angst, I feel like, in his TikTok career. That could be a good thing for him, honestly.
maybe so.
Start fresh.
All right. Well, TikTok, we'll see how that goes Sunday, but it looks like it's going to go dark for a lot of people. And then will President Trump come in and save it? Who knows? Speaking of President elect Donald Trump, he's hoping to make Hollywood stronger than ever before by naming Sylvester Stallone, Mel Gibson, and John Voight special ambassadors to Hollywood. Mel Gibson said, quote, I got the tweet at the same time as all of you and was just as surprised. Nevertheless, I heed the call. My duty as a citizen is to give any help and insight I can. Any chance the position comes with an ambassador's residence? Tyler, what do you make of this? Do you think it's just, I think it's just Trump giving the middle finger to Hollywood. I think that's it.
That's exactly what it is. If you take half of the things he says literally, you end up in a very wacky place very quickly.
It's kind of funny,
What
right?
Yeah, it
it's
is.
funny.
It's an,
It's entertaining. Like I like the idea of just changing the name of the Gulf to the Gulf of America. But just because why not? It's fun and it doesn't really affect anything. But this just feels like a middle finger to Hollywood and him trying to just prop up people who have spoken positively about him, regardless if their career is actually on an upswing or not.
and none of these three would you would say that they're far from the height in which they once were
Yeah.
Mhm.
at.
Like Sylvester Stallone still gets a call every time they make a new Expendables movie or anytime like he
Well,
wants to make a cameo in like one of the Creed movies.
it's
Uh
got Tulsa King going, which is
oh
pretty
yeah,
big.
Mhm.
Tulsa King. I forget about that.
He's got Tulsa King
Um
going, but he also is the one making the call on the Expendables because he's the one that's got to get out all the whole gang back together.
Mhm.
And he's out of the Creed movies now. There's
Oh,
been
he
a
is.
falling out.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
it,
not in Creed 3. Don't have any plans to bring him on back for Creed 4. There was a falling out with Sylvester Stallone and the Creed team. Yeah.
that's heartbreaking given the history of Stallone writing that character. But let's see, who was the other one? Oh, Mel Gibson. He's got a new movie coming out. He directed Flight Risk, but you wouldn't know it unless you pay real close attention because they don't have his name anywhere in the trailer. They say
Weird.
from the acclaimed director of Braveheart, Hacksaw Ridge, and Apocalypto. And I remember sitting in the theater watching the trailer and going, "Wait, that's just Mel Gibson."
Yeah.
Like we went the long way around just saying Mel Gibson directed this movie.
Took the scenic route.
There was a discussion on the next round last week where Tyler looked over his shoulder at me like, Tim, you want to jump in here? And Tyler was getting ganged up on a little bit because the question was better career, Mel Gibson or Mel Brooks? And Tyler took the route of Mel Brooks.
Okay.
Love Mel Brooks.
And I think there's two ways to look at it. If you're looking at it from a which one reached higher heights, Mel Gibson all day long.
Yes.
But he also took a much further fall.
Yeah.
Yes.
So do you weigh that in? If I'm a millionaire, but I lose all of my money but $1,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what happened to Mel Gibson. I'm just using an analogy. All of a sudden, it's not that, special that, oh, yeah,
If you win the lottery but you
you,
throw away all the
correct.
winnings,
Yeah.
then what does it matter in the end?
Right, exactly. And there's no doubt Mel Gibson has rebuilt from the very bottom rungs of that ladder he fell down. But he was at the very height of it. So the question
Oh
is,
yeah.
which one do you value more? The steadiness of a Mel Brooks career, where his art is loved, but he never reaches those commercial heights? Or do you value more the rise and fall like we do in celebrity culture? And I think I would have taken the side of Mel Brooks as the more steady handed, consistently viewed individual compared to a Mel Gibson who kind of once again crashed and burned with his reputation, and he's now rebuilding. And this is a real opportunity for him to maybe continue to push forward with more directorial works. I think he's a very talented performer, but also a hotbed of controversy as well.
Oh yeah. And see, the main reason I took Mel Brooks was like objectively he didn't reach the commercial success that stuff like Braveheart and Apocalypto reached, but are we really gonna say that Young Frankenstein, Spaceballs, and Robin Hood Men in Tights
Yeah.
weren't successful in what they were trying to do?
Right. Smaller scale level of success, but still success for sure. It's not really an apples to apples comparison, but they both had the name Mel. So that's why the conversation
And
came
that's
up.
also the point of importance.
Correct. Okay. We move on to this. Earlier this week, Disney released the trailer for the upcoming Marvel television series Daredevil Born Again. Comes to Disney Plus on March 4th, 2025. I thought it was a fantastic trailer. I think anytime you have Daredevil and Kingpin there, especially in that diner scene, gave me Heat vibes of De Niro and Pacino, of them just sitting down having a conversation. And when two characters can sit down at a table, have a conversation, and it's riveting, that you got something you're working with there. The action looks vicious. It looks really tense. I mean, really liked the Netflix series that they did with Daredevil, and this looks like a continuation of that compared to what we've seen with something like Hawkeye or Echo. This looks much more along the lines of what Netflix got right about the character. And this thing's gone through production hell. It worries me a little bit, but hopefully when they decided to start from scratch, they rebuilt it and it's going to be really good. But I don't know. Is your brother a Daredevil fan? Excited
I
about
don't know.
talked about it at all?
I don't know. I'm curious to ask him. Is that a movie you think I'd like?
Television series on Disney Plus. I don't think you would like it. No.
Not the movie either.
The movie they made one back in 2003 with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Gardner, and it's a guilty pleasure of mine, but it's not good.
That movie gets crapped on a lot. It's not as bad as people make it
No,
out to be.
now when people like to dunk on that movie, I think they really just want to dunk on Elektra, which
Bingo.
is a much worse movie.
Yeah, Elektra is really bad.
Oh yeah, that was the movie that my brother asked if we were going to be discussing. Coming back to me, he texted me asking if we were going to discuss that. and now we are.
Talking about Daredevil Born
Yeah.
Again?
Yeah.
Yeah, television series,
Television series.
Disney Plus, March, and it's very much made for mature audiences. Um, I'm excited about it, but I'm not overly optimistic that it's going to be great because we have seen greatness there in the Netflix series. So I'm
Yeah.
concerned about it, but overall, great trailer. I'm very conflicted on whether or not I'm actually wanting to buy up stock in this thing.
How do you think Disney's gonna handle the Punisher character? Because we did see him in the trailer, but
Yeah, they're
I don't
going to
know.
let him.
The Punisher is also one of those sort of characters that has been twisted in popular culture and just the idea of who that character is and
I think I know what you're
what
saying.
fans of that character are.
I think I know what
You
you're
know what I
saying.
mean?
Like V for Vendetta. It's the same sort of
Yes,
thing.
yes, same idea, same idea.
Yeah, like you see Guy Fawkes masks on both sides of a disagreement. It's like you don't realize, like, you know,
Yes.
this doesn't really pertain to either of you. No, but
Or
yeah,
you see like
I know what you're saying.
this is not to be like controversial in any way, but like a police officer with like a Punisher skull on
Mhm.
on their vehicle, and you think, well, that's kind of not what that that character is.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that just like Punisher because he's not afraid to use guns at any different point.
And that's totally fine. I got no problem with that. He's an awesome character. Um,
Yeah,
but I do wonder how Disney will handle the character because of those more recent sort of squabbles
we'll see.
that usually stay online.
Punisher already part of the Daredevil world in the Netflix series. Punisher got his own run at a series there with Netflix. I thought it was pretty good, and we will see how they handle it. I don't know. I think Disney's not worried about producing mature content and integrating it into a place where you can watch Cinderella and this
Yeah.
all in the same bundle. Like,
I
I don't
was
think they care about that anymore.
I
They
was
used to.
wondering that because I guess my mind goes to what if some little kid is like on the Disney Plus profile
Well,
and
they kind of threw that away when they brought The Simpsons in to Disney Plus.
Yeah, that was a big debate early on whether or not The Simpsons should be included in the Disney Plus interface and everything. And it ultimately was. And then they started, once Bob Chapek got in instead of Bob Iger, they just started integrating all of it. And it was a shock at first. And then now it's just sort of commonplace. And there are parental guidance
yeah.
controls that you can do if you have a really young one that you don't want seeing stuff. So there we go. Okay, we move on to this. Brad Pitt has reacted to the viral story of a 53-year-old French woman who was swindled out of $850,000. I believe this was a trash story.
I did have this in
Oh,
trash the other day.
so bad.
We saw this recently with a John Wick story as well here with a woman in the US that lost over 60 plus $1,000 thinking she was in a relationship with Keanu
Keanu.
Reeves.
Mm.
And this is someone who's pretending to be Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt has come out with an official statement saying, quote, "It's awful that scammers take advantage of the strong bond between fans and celebrities. This is an important reminder not to respond to unsolicited online messages, especially from actors who are not present on social networks." I got a message today, by the way,
Oh, curious where this is
on
going.
my phone. "It's been ages. Have things been going smoothly for you lately?" With a number that's not saved in my phone. And I'm wondering if that's some sort of phishing. I don't think
Ooh.
it's Brad Pitt, but I'm saying, is it some sort of, you think it's some sort of scam, some sort of phishing, some sort, we've never texted before. I don't have this person's phone number saved in my, or are you the type that responds back or
Mm-mm.
immediately?
No, I responded. I typically don't respond if it's an unknown number, but there was a text I got recently that was like something. It was clearly someone that was at someone's house to move them, and they texted me, "Hey, this is the movers. We're here to come get your stuff. John told me to go to the side door. Let me know when you guys are ready to start loading up."
Mm,
And I was like, "Oh, I actually am gonna reply to this because whoever's house they're at or whoever they're trying to communicate with."
yeah.
And I was like, "You got the wrong number." And they had a hold on, I actually wanna find that. They sent back something really obscure, like, "Oh, is this not like it like a Chinese restaurant?" And I was like, "No, this is not." Wonder if it was Black Pearl.
Possibly. I don't know the name of that
Hold
place.
on.
That's not a place that I know the name of
Uh,
any longer.
if anyone
This
hasn't seen the fake Brad Pitt photos, I'm putting them up now. They are just absolutely wacky, and I just can't believe that someone with $850,000 playing around fell for these pictures. I mean,
They thought I was the Golden Dragon establishment.
Gotcha. And you were not.
No.
Okay. Golden Dragon, that's your Russian agent, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Tyler, I'm looking at these pictures now, and
You're sad.
wow. The worst is the top right.
oh
Like
yeah.
where he's under the knife and his eyes are
He's
closed.
just like barely poking above the bed.
Like you know
And then
this
the bottom middle where he's got the neck brace on or the mask or whatever that is, it's just so bad.
it's bad, and you know the scammers are laughing the entire time like
Uh,
they're getting more money. This is happening a lot though lately
yeah.
of like stories of really women targets that think they're in love with some random celebrity and that, oh,
Yeah.
they finally found me and it's true love.
It,
I just
it's
wonder if these women that get scammed, if that's actually not their number one favorite person, if it's like actually,
like Matt
Like
Damon.
yeah,
Brad Pitt was like pretty deep on the bench, but
right,
he's hitting me up, so
I
I'm
correct,
gonna see where it goes.
exactly.
and also, I'm curious. They must be pretty isolated in life because if my mother, aunt,
Well, this lady left her husband and kids for the fake Brad Pitt
see, that is insane.
and gave him 800 grand.
That is in did you go into debt for this?
Her
Uh,
husband did.
yeah.
I mean, wow. How you have some deep-seated something going on.
Yeah, there's big problems there. Okay, we move on to this. EG, want to get your
Yes.
thoughts. The first country artist to headline the Las Vegas Sphere has been announced with a residency that launches on May 22nd. Have you seen the story?
No,
Okay, you're in Vegas.
in Vegas.
You're there with the fam.
Okay.
There's a country artist in town. You get to pick who it is that's in the Sphere doing a show that y'all are all going to go see. Who are you picking?
I would go with Luke Combs or Chris Stapleton.
Great choice there with Chris Stapleton, especially. Loved watching Chris Stapleton in person. Kenny Chesney is
Oh,
going to be in concert
interesting.
holding a residency there at the Sphere. And I would think that the entire time you're watching Kenny Chesney at the Sphere, you're going to think that like a shark's going to come in and
Yeah,
eat you up because it's going to be very ocean themed, I would think.
for sure. Very beachy. I feel like that'd be really fun to go to in Vegas in the summer. Have nice like a little summer vibe. Go see Kenny and then head out to the strip. Interesting. I would not have guessed that, but I like it. I don't hate it.
I very much visually want to know what that concert looks like.
Me too. I feel like he has a very easy brand to align that with. He can make it, I mean,
I think
island, pirates.
it's got to be a weird place to perform as an artist because
Yeah.
people are not really watching you.
They're watching the visuals.
They're watching everything around them like, whoa,
Yeah.
I'm in a fish tank now, that sort of thing.
I don't know. I kind of like that. And I would like it. It must be bright. Maybe it feels like you're on a beach, palm trees. Maybe I'll go
Okay.
to Vegas and see Kenny.
Maybe May 22nd. Next, Scream 7
Oh my God.
has cast the role of Mark Evans, which is the husband of Sidney Prescott. Sidney Prescott making a return to the Scream franchise. I'm a big Scream fan.
Okay.
Seen all the movies, own most of them on physical media. Really geeked out over the original and Scream 2. Hated Scream 3. Scream 4 was okay. Scream 5 was awful, in my opinion. Scream 6 I really liked. And now we're at Scream 7. And the husband of Sidney Prescott was rumored to be what we saw there in Scream 3 with Patrick Dempsey returning to the role that would lead to him and Sydney being married, which was alluded to in Scream 5. Joel McHale has been cast as Sidney Prescott's husband. I don't know how to feel about this. Not a big Joel McHale fan. He was on Community. He also was on The Soup, The E Show. He's been in a number of things, but he's really more known for sarcastic comedy than he's known for anything else. Joel McHale as Sidney Prescott's husband. I'm going to have to see how this all works out, but initially it's hard for me to make that connection work. I really was hoping they'd bring back Patrick Dempsey for this, but he was in that movie Thanksgiving with Eli Roth direction, and it was really good. So Anyway, Joel McHale sort of replacing Patrick Dempsey in that role of Sidney Prescott's husband. I just found that to be interesting for any Scream fans.
I need to catch up on the Scream movies.
You do. You could do a
I've
marathon.
only seen the first 3.
You could do a marathon, knock them all out, and you would, I think, probably be dumber for it. Okay,
Do we actually think that franchise is gonna get back on the right track?
it is.
It is? Alright.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Tyler.
I just know it's gone through production hell with, people leaving, asking for more money, then they lost Jenna Ortega.
Yeah.
Kinda nightmare.
There's people that have been forced out of the productions. There's people who have walked away from the productions, but the on-screen product has been relatively consistent throughout.
Okay.
So, not really a problem with audiences. An audience keeps showing up and giving their money. More next Scream movie, okay, boom, boom, boom. The secret sauce to Scream that makes it tough for something like Halloween, which is, I love, but they have to like take a long time to reboot. We haven't gotten a Friday the 13th since 2009.
Wow.
That
Like,
was a stinker.
we haven't gotten a Freddy Krueger movie since like 2010.
That was 2010. Yep.
2010. So the thing that makes Scream work is different killer every time. It's like a murder mystery type thing where you can, while Ghostface is a character that resonates through popular culture, there's like a dozen different Ghostface technically. So you can just keep reinventing the main villain. in
Nearly
this.
20 if we're throwing in the scary movies. Oh.
Sure, if we're doing
What's that?
so, they're able to crank these things out narratively over and over and over again because they don't have to tell you how somebody gets resurrected from the previous movie,
Mhm.
So it kind of works there. Okay, we move on to this. Earlier this week, Nintendo unveiled the long-awaited successor to its popular Switch video game console. It is called, wait for it, the Nintendo Switch 2. Original
Riveting.
name.
What's your new name for that console, EG?
That works for me. I can remember that. The Switch 2.
I don't know if I dreamed this or if it's real, but you know how you call Twisters the Tornado Part 2?
Yeah.
I want to say there's a movie called The Tornado Part 1 and The Tornado Part 2. I want to say that that's a legitimate, there's movies called that. Or else I
Really?
dreamed that we pulled it out of the box. I may have dreamed that we pulled The Tornado Part 2 out of the box.
If
I'm like,
we had pulled out the Tornado Part 2, I probably would have screamed.
I'm not seeing any.
I dreamed it then.
That's
It's awful.
hilarious.
The tornado.
I hate admitting that I even dreamed that. But yeah, I woke up going, I guess it does exist, I guess. And then now in my head, it does. You ever had that happen where you dream something and you're like,
Yeah,
Yes.
I've had very like mundane dreams before about like just work, just specific situations or conversations at work.
Yeah.
And so you get that moment of deja vu.
I was actually telling this story last night when I found out that one of Mikey's friends were getting engaged. He was going down for the engagement,
mhm,
and so I knew about it before, and I wasn't, like, super good friends with the wife, and I had this true fear over the next couple of weeks that I was going to sleepwalk or sleep text or somehow my sleep tell her the plan
oh,
or, like, congratulate her prematurely.
yeah.
It was a real fear of mine.
That was a Kristen Wiig SNL skit where she was so excited about whatever the surprise was that she just blurts it out all the time.
Oh, that is my biggest
Yeah.
fear is knowing things like that. Oh, terrifies me. Or, like, very tertiary characters in my life that like, side people, and, like, I know something's gonna happen, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, what if I somehow accidentally say something to them?"
Wow.
So I have an interesting update to your dream, Tim.
Oh, what?
If you Google tornado part 2,
Guess what comes up? Twisters.
the first result
Is
is
Twisters?
Twisters.
Well, I just Googled the tornado movie and what it linked me to was Twister. So,
Okay.
e.g., like subconsciously it works, but I'm looking forward to the Tornado Part 3. I hope it has Glenn Powell.
Me too.
Look, we're talking about the Nintendo Switch. If you need to switch dentists, I have the dentist for you. Maybe you went to the dentist last time and they accidentally worked on the wrong tooth. That's
Oh.
happened to me.
Really?
Yeah. They drilled in
No.
the wrong tooth.
No way.
That happened to me many moons
Oh.
ago, and I lost my faith in dentistry.
I would too.
I was upset. I was discouraged. I didn't know who to trust. Well, now I know who to trust, and that is Dr. Jeff, Dr. Brian, and Dr. Nolan over at Alabama Dental Associates. They'll take care of you there on Grants Mill Road. So they provide you all sorts of services when it comes to staying on top of your dental health. And they're accepting new patients now and can help you feel at ease about all of your upcoming dental procedures like they did for me. For more information or to make an appointment, call them at 205 956 8977. That's 205 956 8977, or visit alabamadental.com, where they look forward to seeing you. Once again, we love the team at Alabama Dental Associates. I've got an appointment booked with them in February. And look, it's not Valentine's Day for me until I go get drilled by my dentist. So that works.
Yo, what?
What? What? What did that sound like? I'm talking about Alabama Dental Associates. Okay. Anyway, let's move on to this.
Wow, took a sip of water at the wrong time.
What? That's
Totally awesome.
Yeah.
I learned from Jim Dunaway how to do
Yes.
this
Yes, you
commentary.
did.
Yes, you
yes,
did.
yes, you did.
Okay. I was talking about getting
Uh,
the wrong tooth was
yeah,
drilled.
totally.
Back to the Switch. Have y'all
Who are you getting drilled by?
Alabama Dental Associates? You should be getting drilled by them too. It's fantastic. Okay. Here's my question to you. Have you seen the announcement video for the Switch 2?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, it's really not very riveting in my opinion. There's not enough. I'm a Switch owner and I don't see enough with the Switch 2 to want to
Elevate
upgrade, elevate, expound
the
my
bond.
Switchness. It's going to be the software that's going to get people to
Yeah.
upgrade.
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen is they're going to start making Switch 2 exclusive games. And then you're like, well, darn it. I can't
need
just
it.
ride out the Switch anymore. I've got to go ahead and upgrade now. And people are going to do that. But it comes out in spring of this year.
Okay.
And I think it's going to do bonkers sales to begin with. But,
It looks like I'm not buying a Switch 1.
well,
I had been wanting one for a while.
Yeah.
And think I'll just hold off.
How much did those set you back?
Right now,
Switches are like what?
say about I'd say about $200 right now.
Yeah,
That's what I would say a
I've
Switch
seen
was.
like the special like LED screen model go for like $299 at GameStop or something.
Oh, that's okay. I thought it was like a little more expensive.
No, it's not like a
been out
full
for a
size
while.
console like a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X. Nothing crazy.
I had a Leapster back in the day. Do you guys remember what those
Oh
are?
yeah, I had a Leapster. It was like the
Pink and
Leapfrog.
purple. Yep.
Yeah.
So right now on Amazon, if you were to try to buy a Nintendo Switch with neon blue and neon red Joy-Cons, $279.
Okay.
So $279 right now for a Nintendo Switch. But the Switch is a fun console. I don't know if they're going to upgrade. Really, what they need to upgrade more than anything is
Colors?
no,
Oh.
the Joy-Con durability, because those controllers drift
Mm.
after a while. Because you really do. They're small controllers. They take on a lot of pressure, and I'm hoping that they make more durable Joy-Cons. That's what I hope more than anything with the Switch. Okay, we are going to move on to this next story here, and that is that Conan O'Brien is the latest comedian to be uh, featured with the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor, the former host of Conan and The Tonight Show. And Late Night with Conan O'Brien will receive the award on March 23rd at the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. The ceremony will air on Netflix. I always love watching the Kennedy Center Award show, the Kennedy Center Honors show.
Mhm.
And Conan is one of my all-time favorite comedians of any sort, and I cannot wait to watch this on Netflix. There's been some really good ones. Dave Chappelle's episode was really good when he was honored one year. There's just a lot of fun things that happen at these shows and a lot of other comedians that come out to support whoever's receiving the prize. So mark that one on your calendar if you want a good laugh there on March 23rd. Conan also set to host the Oscars this year. Stephen King has come out and said there shouldn't be an Oscars this year due to the LA wildfires. And he says he's not.
Another bad take from Stephen King.
Yeah.
What a
Shocker.
shock.
I'm so over old man Stephen King.
Me
He
too.
is annoying.
He really
I
is.
think I had to mute him on Twitter
Yeah.
or block him or whatever.
Just unfollow him.
I never followed him to
Oh,
begin with. That
you
was the
still-
Yeah,
issue.
no, his tweets get pushed.
Yeah.
He's constantly threatened to leave the platform multiple times. Is he
He
not?
does. He threatens to leave social media and delete all his accounts more than like a high school girl who gets broken up with for the first time. It's ridiculous.
Wow,
Yeah.
I mean,
Tyler going very.
okay,
Dang.
I
Specific.
I have never forgiven Stephen King since The Dark Tower came out
Oh.
because in the lead up to that movie, he was like, "This is the best adaptation of any of my works that's ever been done." I go see it. It was a steaming pile. And then a couple years later, he comes out in an interview and was like, "Yeah, I knew it was bad. I was
Oh.
promoting it."
You
All
know,
right, cool.
he did not have any sort of association, I don't think, with
What
that.
a tool.
What was the swimming pool movie that came out last year that you hated? Night
Oh,
Swim?
Night Swim.
Stephen King said Night Swim was so good. I mean, I'm not.
That sounds right.
This was like 3 months after the movie had come
Well,
out.
that's because Night Swim feels like a story that Stephen King would have wrote when he was like deep in his cocaine addiction and would just like pound out a book over a weekend.
Oh wow.
Okay.
I mean, that's not me trying to
No.
mock him. That's a true story. He would
Yeah.
do that.
No, I feel like you got some punches you're tossing today and you're landing, you're connecting. Played a boxing video game last night. It was a lot of fun. Don't remember the name of it, but it's super fun. And I feel like Tyler's just in there just
Yeah.
throwing some jabs today, and I love it.
Uppercuts to Stephen King.
Earlier this week, the BAFTAs, the award nominations for the BAFTAs were released. Wicked not nominated for Best Picture at the BAFTAs.
Dang, they're striking out. Ugh,
Anyway,
not popular. What?
well, Wicked still ended up with 7 award nominations there, but Conclave and Amelia Perez led this year's BAFTA Film Awards nominations with 12 for Conclave, 11 for Amelia Perez. The Brutalist had 9 BAFTA Film Awards, followed by Anora, Dune Part 2, and Wicked tied for 7. The Brutalist is the only movie on this list that we haven't had some sort with. I've tried to get through Amelia Perez, can't do it on Netflix, but The Brutalist we are going to watch next week, Tyler. That's the plan. And it's about a 4-hour movie. What's your expectation level for The Brutalist, Tyler, right now, currently, a week out from having basically seen it?
I'm trying to keep my expectations low. I do not want to go into this movie overhyped. I want to go into it totally blind and just accept whatever comes my way. Because I cannot sit through a 4-hour disappointment. That is going to be a bummer of a podcast when I come in the next day.
While you are keeping your expectations low, you are rooting for it to be successful. I mean,
Of course, I want every movie to be successful because I mean, when you're at the theater as much as me, you really want to enjoy your time there
Yeah.
because not everything is like a special movie. So you want it to be that way. But man, 4 hours, it's going to be a rough watch. I know it.
or it could feel easy breezy and
It
you're
could.
watching it multiple times, like, oh, this is the movie of the year.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah, I'm sure.
it's possible. I'm saying it's possible. Not out of the realm of possibility. Margaret Qualley said it took a year for her skin to recover from the irritation caused by the face prosthetics used in the substance. If you've seen the substance, you know that there's a heavy use of makeup and prosthetics, which I think hair and makeup, the substance, if you're not winning hair and makeup for that, I mean, I'm trying to think what else would be like clear, decisive hair and makeup level excellence, but the substance has to be up there
I would throw the substance up there.
because almost every one of the effects is like practically done with makeup, and
Interesting.
it's got to be part of the conversation. It has to be nominated first, but then I think it should be a lock to win. We'll see though. But Margaret Qualley said she basically had a reaction to this to where she couldn't get her skin right for a year.
I believe it.
I don't know how much you do with skincare. I don't really do much with skincare. E.g., it's a very important thing to be on top of for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And different skin has different irritants, but I've heard continually that when you're putting those chemicals on your face, like especially they were in that movie, I haven't seen obviously the film, but I've seen clips and stuff. Like that does a number. And I can't imagine like just the abrasion it caused and oh,
Should everybody have a skincare routine, in your opinion? Or is it just
interesting question, Tim. I want to be a dermatologist, but I didn't want to deal with
What?
like abscesses. Yeah, like I was like, I don't want to deal with anything like really nasty. Like,
Another reason why EG would hate the movie The Substance.
yeah.
But
So with that being said, I appreciate skincare. I feel like I'm knowledgeable in that area of it. I think that everyone needs one to go to the dermatologist and have a dermatologist that you are comfortable with because they can genuinely save your life when it comes to skin cancers and spots and things like that. I think you should be getting your yearly skin exam, full body, and then be talking to your dermatologist about any concerns that you may have with your skin texture, appearance, etc. Now, I do not believe in the 25 million step skincare that is all over social media. I also don't believe in celebrity skincare lines or celebrity medical, anything like that. The best place to get your skincare advice from is from your dermatologist. Prescription-based retinol, specifically vitamin A, so tretinoin. There's an oral form. I know.
EG has waited for this moment.
I have.
I have learned today that I do not take care of my skin. I thought I was doing pretty good, just like hitting it with the 3-step proactive every
No,
day.
no.
Wet wash rag. Phew,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
good.
Now,
No, apparently I'm doing everything wrong.
listen, I'm not saying it has to be expensive. And if your skin is completely fine, you don't deal with breakouts, you don't deal with dry skin, excess oil, keep doing what you're doing. If you want a skincare routine or you're worried about anti-aging concerns, wrinkles, things like that, vitamin A, either the oral form of it, which is more widely known as Accutane, which is very strong. I did Accutane in high school. It basically think of it as nuking your oil glands and resetting all of it. Um, CeraVe and Cetaphil that you can get at Publix, CVS, Walgreens. It's not very expensive, or La Roche-Posay are the 3 skincare brands I recommend. That is it, and you can find it anywhere. Case closed.
EG, thank you for this. This
You're
felt
welcome.
like a public service announcement.
Good. I hope
And
I hope.
I'm so happy that you were somehow prepared for this one.
Yeah.
I did not know, and
Yeah.
I just sort of took a gamble, and I bet right.
You did.
I did bet right.
Sunscreen is important too.
E, e, EG has just impressed the hell out of both of us.
Yeah,
Okay.
like I'm with Josh in the chat. He says, "So Fiji by Old Spice isn't the move?" Because that's all I use.
Not for your face, if that's your
I
face.
don't use.
Alright.
I
hope
use
not.
the Fiji deodorant.
I
The
like the
the
Fiji
the ro-
scent.
the roll on.
Yeah, that's not bad. No 3-in-1 for
Oh no,
like
never.
shampoo. If it says you can wash your hair, body, and face, you can't.
I had this is a weird story I've never told before publicly, but I had one of the popular girls in school come up to me
So you have good skin?
and said, "I just want you to know you have really good
You
skin,"
do. I've
and
noticed
then
that.
walked away. And it's stuck with me ever since because I had follow-ups. Like, what do you what it's almost like it felt strange to me. It felt like she had to tell me. She had to like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I need you to know this.
Yeah.
You have really good skin." And then walked away and I was like,
Hmm.
"Okay."
Stuck with you all these years.
I
You
just don't feel like I do anything special. I just have that, I guess, that natural bearded glow.
But see, that's my point is that what people fall into consumerism is that some people are naturally blessed with good skin. You're one of them. Very even coloration, no real spots, pores, pretty normal, which is the goal. You don't have to do anything to achieve that. But what, these celebrity skincare lines, et cetera, they want to push all these products that actually end up making your skin worse. So you have to buy more to fix the problem the skincare is creating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's rough there.
So if it works, don't change it, is what I'm saying. If you have perfect skin, keep doing what you're doing. If you're wash your face with mouthwash, I don't care.
If you've ever read the book Green Lights by Matthew
Yeah.
McConaughey, he does a whole chapter on how he was taking this stuff that was full of oils that
Mhm.
his I think his mom was selling it,
Mhm.
and she was being pushed by this sort of pyramid sort of scheme to continue to sell this skincare, and she started telling him to use it,
Mhm.
and he started to have these awful
Breakouts.
breakouts,
Yeah.
and he didn't know why, and he went to the dermatologist, and they were like, "Oh, you got to quit using that
Mhm.
immediately." And then his dad was like, "Oh, we'll sue the group that pushed this on you and the emotional stress that you had from all of this." And they ended up in court over it, and he had to testify that he was emotionally scarred and stressed and all this stuff.
Wow.
But in the courtroom, they pull out his yearbook, and he was voted like most handsome, and he's standing there smiling, and They go,
Oh.
"Okay, so you were emotionally scarred when you took this photo of most handsome," and at that point, they didn't win the case against the
Wow,
the
what a
skincare company.
what pull.
It's a great chapter in the book. I
Yeah.
do recommend Green Lights, even if you're just a light Matthew McConaughey fan, it's a great book. He's a great author, great storyteller. I could listen to Matthew McConaughey ramble on about
Yeah,
any subject for hours
agreed.
and feel like I got something out of it. Anyway, whew, let's move on to this. This is gonna be quick. Greta Gerwig, not one of my favorite directors, but she's doing her thing. She's leveraged her Barbie star power to convince Netflix to give her a big theatrical release for Narnia. Now, if you know Netflix, they don't like to release things in the movie theater. They just do not. They're trying to destroy the movie theater, not surround it with their films. They are going to give a big theatrical release for her Narnia adaptation. The film will be released exclusively on IMAX screens worldwide for 2 weeks in advance of its Netflix debut. For 2 weeks, they're going to put this thing out there for the world to consume, and then you're going to see it on Netflix.
Which Narnia story are they adapting?
Don't know, but I'm over Narnia. We got
Yeah,
Prince Caspian, almost threw that thing right on the ground.
Oh,
Don't want it in the last DVD
it,
box.
it wasn't a good movie.
I'm over the Narnia stuff, but anyway, Greta Gerwig is doing a Narnia movie. It's going to be a big blockbuster type movie, and Netflix, I guess, feels so confident in its visionary director in Greta Gerwig that they're going to put it out in the theaters. Now, I think this is also a play for her to be able to be eligible for awards,
mm,
because you have to have at least screens in LA and New York. This is going to help her even more by having a nationwide release on the IMAX screens. Okay, move on to this. This is our last topic. In and on kind of a down note here,
okay.
kind of a sad note. Director writer David Lynch, who radicalized American film with a dark,
Surrealist.
surrealistic artistic vision in films like Blue Velvet and Mulholland Drive, is also known for network television like Twin Peaks. He passed away this week. He was 78 years old. Isabella Rossellini has paid tribute to David Lynch, simply saying, "I loved him so much." The actress had her breakout role in Lynch's Blue Velvet in 1986, and the two were in a romantic relationship until 1991. Steven Spielberg has also come out with a tribute to David Lynch, saying, quote, "I love David's films, Blue Velvet, Mulholland Drive, and Elephant Man defined him as a singular visionary dreamer who directed films that felt handmade. I got to know David when he played John Ford in The Fablemans. I Here was one of my heroes, David Lynch playing one of my heroes. It was surreal and seemed like a scene out of one of David's own movies. The world is going to miss such an original and unique voice. His films have already stood the test of time, and they always will." Once again, David Lynch being remembered by many of his peers, passing away this week at the age of 78. And when you have so many people within the industry that are coming out with so many nice things to say, a wife, a woman that he had a romantic relationship with, that obviously it didn't work out long term, even coming out and showing support for David Lynch and his impact, not only in his cinema, but also interpersonally. I think it says a lot about his probably professionalism
Mhm.
and what he was able to accomplish both on screen and off with his relationships.
Yeah, and it's often said that your reputation is the only thing that lives on, and it sounds like that his is living on in a positive way compared to a negative way, as some unfortunately come across.
Absolutely. So that news this week, and want to make sure we pay our respects here to the life and works of David Lynch. All right, that's going to do it for us this week here on the Meltdown. Still going to have plenty of content for you over the course of the weekend. I'm going to see the Wolfman tomorrow. I'll let you know my out of the theater thoughts on that. Tyler, what are you going to see this weekend?
Oh gosh, I've got a whole laundry list of movies to go see this weekend. We're finally getting Nickel Boys in the Room Next Door. There's some 2024 releases that are up for awards, finally getting to be screened here in Birmingham. We've got a documentary coming out about uh, a group of guys that tried to make a Hamlet production in Grand Theft Auto 5. It is called Grand Theft Hamlet, and I'm really looking forward to this one, 'cause it just seems like goofy fun, like recreating movie scenes and TV shows in GTA. It sounds like something me and my friends would do just late at nights during the summer. So Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. It'll be a good time.
Kind of like a red versus blue vibe to me
Yeah, a
with
little bit.
Halo and what they did with that miniseries, but a lot of Hamlet fans that are going to be in there, like, what's going on? And a lot of Grand Theft Auto fans, like, oh, what's going on? But anyway, if you're a MyBookie fan, MyBookie.ag, make sure you use promo code next round there for that first time deposit bonus. We appreciate all of you Meldonians watching this week. That's going to do it for us. For EG and Tyler, I'm Tim, signing off. We'll see you again live Monday, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern.